Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Bullfrog Hikes here. How is everyone doing? How is your weekend going? Just thought I might take a little walk outside. I think it's currently in the 20s, low 20s, maybe 25, but I definitely feel the temperature and it is freezing. I'm wearing my mittens. These are actually really cool. They have like this, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just a fleece lining, but definitely some warm stuff. Had a relative of mine from Ukraine send me these, so don't ask me where I got them. They're definitely some bootlegged custom item, if you know what I mean. But speaking of bootleg and custom and cheap things and things that don't have brand names, you know, sometimes you just find things that are like, they work great, they don't have a brand, and you're like, where did this come from? But who cares? It just works and you keep using it. I realized that, like, you know, backpacking is pretty expensive when you start to like really do the math and you add up all those items on my gear list, for example. You'll see that it's, I mean, it's several $1,000s, you know, 2,000 bucks, 1,800. I mean, it's up there. I don't know. Like, I paid quite a bit. I mean, I didn't buy everything new. I bought my quilt. It was a discounted item on Z-Packs. They have all these items that are like, not closeouts, but, you know, sometimes they're returns or, I apologize for the wind. It is very windy today. Sometimes they're returns, sometimes they are just things that had defects, maybe cosmetic defects, maybe the stitching wasn't great, maybe they had a splotch of paint or dye rather on the material, so it just doesn't look good. And these items will be discounted pretty well. And I think I paid for my quilt, it was like $330 for that. It was a 20-degree slim long. I think the slim version is okay for me. A lot of people will prefer the wide, but slim long quilt with no hood. It has, you know, I already went over that quilt briefly, but it's a great quilt. So $330 is really not a lot of money to pay for it. Ooh, the wind really picked up. We're supposed to, you know, this is supposed to be like a major blizzard type storm, and it's really been disappointing to say the least. Like, I think on the first night, which was Friday morning, we had like a bunch of snow, but then I got to work and like, yeah, the morning was pretty rough. The roads were pretty full of snow, but then it kind of just melted because the rain started to fall. So whatever. I mean, I think the blizzard predictions were slightly wrong. We were probably supposed to have a lot more snow than we did. I mean, right now it's only like, I mean, that's gotta be only like an inch of snow because the rest of it melted. So it's really not that bad. But yeah, back to the topic at hand. So the price of gear, you know, so the quilt's $330. My tent was like $500. So okay, we're already at we're already at 800. Let's continue the big three. So the backpack, I mean, I actually got the backpack used. It was on eBay. They had lowered the price. I believe I paid under $170 for it, and typically that is a $220 backpack, and it was in almost like new condition. So I think that was a great little score. I wouldn't say I'm good at finding deals. Like, I kind of just looked around and I got lucky in that somebody wanted to sell one. But if I had known that, you know, there's actually even better deals to be had on places like Reddit, Ultralight, and some of those other forums, you can really find great deals. The downside to that is you might get scammed because, you know, it could just be some grifter, some dude trying to hustle you for cash. But chances are, if the guy has a bunch of reviews, you're probably not going to get scammed. If you buy from there, just always use PayPal goods and services. I know there's a fee, but just use it because it's worth it. If the item doesn't show up or whatever, you always have something to lean on in that situation. But yeah, there's great deals to be had on there. So after the backpack, let's just say we're up to like $1,000 I'm just kind of roughly estimating this. So now let's talk about the sleeping pad. Again, I got this item discounted. We just had a big sale on over the holidays. And this is another thing, kind of theme that I'm trying to bring up to you guys, is these sales happen all the time. I mean, there's always a sale. But we just had a big holiday sale, and on Z-Packs, there was a discount on the sleeping pads specifically, I noticed. And I believe I got 20% off. So I ended up paying for a X-Lite, Thermarest X-Lite regular size, brand new. It was the 2022 version, so not the latest and greatest, but it's pretty damn good for me, you know. And that pad I paid, I think, $140 for it, which is insanely good, I think, for a brand new pad that no one's ever touched or anything. I mean, that's amazing. But yeah, those are just some of the things that, so like, you know, let's say we're at $1,150 for the big three. All the other little things, they're not as important and they're not as expensive. Like, I think you can cheap out on a lot of these items. You don't need a $330 Mount Hardwear jacket, like, you know, thermal jacket. They make a really good one. It's very light for the quality and the warmth that you get from it. But honestly, I've heard of people say that for just a little bit more weight, maybe 6 ounces more, the Decathlon jackets are quite amazing. They're quite warm and they're often around $100 or less. So hey, I mean, just pick one of those up, or maybe you can even get one from REI. They have some down jackets that have 650 down, or 600 or 650 fill down. I'm not sure which one. Those jackets are sufficient and they're totally fine. You can use whatever fleece you already have at home. Just trying to bring up that those are expensive things. So here's some alternative things that I had in mind to those options. What you can do is you can go the hammock route. And I just had a podcast with Piper, and he was discussing how he had to take a hammock because that's all he had. And you know, and those items actually worked out pretty great for him for the most part. So what I would recommend on getting hammocks, I really like the quality for the price of Wise Owl hammocks on Amazon. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but they're quite popular. And I'm sure there's you know, they might be a rebrand of some other hammock, but the Wise Owl hammocks, I own a double hammock, and I think the hammock by itself is a little bit over a pound. I'm sure you can shave a few ounces off if you had some lightweight carabiners that you threw in there as well. So let's just say it's around 1.5 pounds. Okay, so that's part of your shelter. But now you still need a tarp. You still need a bug net. So those two items, I think the tarp was also like somewhere around a pound or two. Maybe it was 2 pounds. So let's just say 2 pounds for now. And that's with all the strings and all the crap. You can definitely cut some stuff off. You don't need everything on that tarp. But let's just say it's around 2 pounds. So, okay, the bug net, also like 1/2 pound to a pound, somewhere in that ballpark. Okay, so you got 1/2 pound. So all that together, I think it comes out to around 4 or 5 pounds. I'm just guessing. I'll have the exact numbers on the screen so you'll know what I'm talking about. That's really not that bad for a complete setup for your shelter. You know, it's really not that bad. So now let's talk about the sleeping bag that you have. You can get and I'll just talk about this one because I know about it. I used it myself. You can get a Kelty Cosmic down sleeping bag from REI. Now, I think this sleeping bag is very important, and I would not really want to cheap out on that, because that item is something that you need to rely on. It's something that really, that is quite essential. I wouldn't want that item to fail, so I wouldn't recommend cheaping out on there. I'm aware that in Costco, they sell a 30-degree down sleeping bag for under $100, I've heard. I don't know if it's available these days. It might be slightly more, but I don't know. I wouldn't trust it, to be honest. What I would recommend is just to go with a 20-degree Kelty Cosmic down sleeping bag. I had the long and wide version of that, and it weighed somewhere in the ballpark of 2.5 to 3 pounds, which is really not that bad at all. It's really not that bad. Honestly, I would still carry this item to this day. Despite how heavy it is, I felt so secure in it. I always felt that I could warm up in it. I've never had really a time where I was cold. Damn. Just kind of scratched myself up there. So yeah, it's good stuff. I would highly recommend it. And the quality, and you get great quality from Kelty. The craftsmanship, the stitching, everything is good. I like the cell phone pocket. It could be a little bit bigger because phones are kind of big these days. And this, you know, I will say about that sleeping bag, the cell phone pocket, I would want it to be significantly bigger, because how often do you have to sleep? Sometimes you have to sleep with your filter and your phone and your power bank to keep all those items warm so that they don't freeze or lose battery life. So that's another thing. I would like the pocket to be a little bit bigger, but that's just a little pet peeve of mine. For the most part, I'm very happy with the Kelty Cosmic down. And one thing I might add is, when you buy it originally, it might seem like it's pretty bulky, but you can compress that sucker into like a 14-liter stuff sack, or even smaller than that. It really gets small. It's like it can fit almost in the same volume as my Z-Packs. It's almost the same volume as my Z-Packs quilt, so, which is quite incredible actually. By the way, I am wearing my trail runners with the darn tough socks, and I'm pretty damn warm despite being covered in snow. So that just kind of goes to show you how you could theoretically hike in some pretty bad weather if you needed to, or at least I could. I feel comfortable in it. Some people might have poor circulation and they need multiple layers, like a sock liner plus a thicker wool sock, and then have boots over that. For me, I find that for 3-season hiking, I think I'm comfortable with just trail runners and my wool socks, my darn tough socks. So yeah. All right, so back to what we were saying. So you can see how some of these weights are adding up for sure. You're gonna have a heavier pack, no doubt. But I think for the comfort that those items provide you, I think they're worth carrying, in my opinion. Now, I'm not gonna include an underquilt in this list, just in the spirit of my good old friend Piper, because he didn't carry one, and if he can do it, you can do it. No, I'm joking. Piper is actually quite a hardcore dude, and I think his tolerance for discomfort is quite insane, if you ask me. He can handle some really tough situations. I can tell you that right now from my own experience with the guy. He can, yeah. But that being said, maybe instead of what's it called? Maybe instead of buying a bottom quilt hammock, what I would say instead is, it is an option. You can go for a merino wool sleeping bag liner. That is definitely gonna bump up the temperature rating of your sleeping bag. And in general, another thing I would add to that is, when you're in the hammock, if you want to really warm up from underneath, you need to make sure that your tarp is set pretty low to the ground, and your hammock is lower, because if you're really high up, the wind will definitely go under the tarp and bite your ass, if you know what I mean. So setting the tarp setup is very important. So all right, well, I think this video can get you guys excited enough for what I have planned for tomorrow. I'm gonna attempt to film me setting up my my hammock and showing you all the steps of what I do. And it's, you know, we're supposed to get even colder temps, so tomorrow would be a perfect day for I guess just showing you what I have to go through, like showing you guys what it takes to sometimes do this stuff, because it's hard, you know, but it's good to practice in cold weather, because it allows your mind to be mentally prepared. And preparation is the biggest thing you can do for yourself. If you're a new hiker, you want to practice. Set up your shelter a bunch of times. You don't have to necessarily go on hikes and stuff. Just set it up, take it down, set it up, take it down, and actually sleep in it a few times and make sure that it's comfortable and everything's good to go, because you don't want to find these things on trail. You don't want to find out about them on trail and then have to spend more money and really aggravate yourself. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that. I'm gonna go down here. This looks too beautiful to skip. Oh my god, this is amazing. Kind of slippery. I can't believe I actually gained like 45 to 50 pounds since I came back from trail. I believe when I came back I was around 185, and now I am 230. I weighed myself yesterday, which is pretty crazy, pretty wild, if you ask me. Oh wow, the river really rose. I don't think I can hike down there. That is wild. So beautiful. All right. Whew. I'm gonna go to that other side. But yeah, guys, so I hope I'm being a little bit educational with that. You know, I don't want my channel to necessarily become all about like gear and brands and like, because you know, gear, you can only focus on it so much until you start to become a broken record. You know, for me, I've been watching, oh, check this out. I like the color of that dirt. It's almost, it kind of feels like it's in the desert or something. Kind of odd. So yeah, I don't want my channel to become all about gear. I'm really a gear, in a way, I'm a gear junkie, because I really love opening new boxes and retail therapy, all that stuff. I just love getting new things in the mail. It's quite exciting. So let me know if you guys feel the same way, because it's an addiction, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I've been trying to become less materialistic, but let's be real, I like stuff. Definitely like stuff. I like people more, but stuff is pretty good. And you know what's even better than all those things? Experiences. That is something that once you buy yourself an experience, you'll be like, oh my god, this experience is gonna stay with me forever. And I think, you know, while you're young and healthy, through hiking is an experience to be remembered for sure. And you know, one thing I'll add to that is when you are hiking or going on any trip, make sure you take all the videos and all the photos, because it is a big sacrifice to do it. I know that it can take away from the hike, but when you do it and you look back on those few videos you have, it brings back such amazing memories. And you know, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not able to remember every single detail of my trip. So much happens when you're through hiking that your mind just doesn't, like, you're not able to fully appreciate every single moment and remember every single moment. Or I guess the best way to put it is, things are moving so quickly that you just don't have the ability to fully grasp each moment. Okay, you guys have to check this out. I mean, these woods are flooded like crazy. I'm kind of scared to walk here. This whole bridge got like flooded. It's pretty wild, holy shit. I do not want to fall in this cold water. That would be a bad day. See that? Yeah. Not today, folks. Gonna go the other way. But yeah, make sure to bring a camera. And if you don't have one, make sure that your phone can stay charged long enough to document your journey. But yeah, I wanted to for sure in that video cover some really, really important knots that you absolutely need to know. And I guess I can just list them off briefly. Number one, in my opinion, is it's called a bowline knot, or a bowline knot. Super important knot. You absolutely need to know it. The purpose of that knot is you're basically creating a loop at the end of a rope or a string, and it's a fixed loop, so when you pull the string, it won't come undone or tighten or anything. It'll just stay fixed. And it's really, that loop is so important for setting up the ridge lines on your tent. Even when you're setting up your stakes, those ridge lines at the end, chances are they have a bowline loop or a different one that I'm not sure, I forget the name of, but still, a bowline loop will serve you great for that use case. So I definitely recommend learning that. Another important knot, in my opinion, is just a regular slip knot, and knowing how to tie it. I find that a slip knot, I use it when I pull up my bear bag to lock the piece of wood in place. I just do a quick slip knot, put the wood through, and then the wood locks with a carabiner. I might make a separate video about how to hang a bear bag, but I would definitely recommend learning that knot. And the third and final one that I will mention here briefly is the trucker's hitch knot. Now this one is essential. It is crazy, crazy powerful. It can oftentimes be a lifesaver. In fact, I know I've helped several people that were new to hammock camping on the trail, and I wasn't like an experienced backpacker or anything. You know, when I came out on the trail, I was quite a noob, but even though I was a noob, I prepared myself, and I did make sure that I knew my knots before I got into the woods, because these knots are quite essential and you want to know them by heart. So the trucker's hitch, what that does is it allows you to create a tight ridge line, like really just, the line will be so tight that you can, like, it's like a guitar string, you can just go bang. Not literally, but you know, you get the point. You want to be able to tie a rope between two trees that is incredibly tight and it doesn't come loose. And what that allows you to do is hang up your tarp, and that's quite an important thing if you ask me, because your tarp is like, you know, the thing that protects you from the weather. So I would highly recommend learning that knot, just in case, you know. Maybe your tarp has different like toggles and ropes that are already built into it that make it really easy to hang it, but that might not last forever. Maybe in a makeshift scenario, you may need to know this knot and then use your bare rope as a ridgeline if the rope on your tarp was to break accidentally or whatever. Maybe it got really windy and the friction just, you know, tore through your rope or whatever. There's so many situations, but just knowing that knot is super important. Even if you're not a hammocker, it's good to know, because you might just help someone and you might just save their life for sure. So know that knot. Okay, so those are some things that I wanted to share. All right, skis. Oh, now this is quite cool. I have not seen this frozen yet. Damn, that is beautiful. I think I'm gonna get off the trail here, warm up a little bit. Maybe I should just go back, because I believe the temperatures are supposed to drop to like minus 2 degrees, -3. So I definitely don't want to get caught in a storm tonight. Wow. It is quite amazing, yeah. Get back home, try to think of what I want to do next for the channel. Oh, so cold. Hopefully maybe I'll make some videos in the garage where I'm nice and toasty. Just some stuff, some more thoughts I had. Maybe I still have to film my Appalachian Trail announcement video. I feel like it's kind of redundant, but hey, I need content, folks, so definitely gonna film that, and hopefully that'll bring in even more subscribers to the channel. But the whole thing is, I'm trying to get the channel kind of set up so that when I'm on trail, I have like a good following, a decent following, and it kind of will give me, in a way, motivation to keep going. And also it'll give me, you know, it'll just make me feel nice about pulling out the camera and talking, and then I'll have something to do when I'm on trail. I can make more videos, hopefully inform more people about different subjects. So yeah, I'm pretty excited, guys. Pretty excited for April. I kind of can't wait. I wish I could get on trail right now, but we got to get this work situation finished with, then I can get on trail. Looks like somebody set up this bench for me. Oh, I could actually sit right here. Oh. You know what? It is heavily underrated, but just a nice little warm picnic table in a shelter like this, 10 out of 10. Ooh, it is chilly. Yeah, maybe I do want to go sit on that side after all. Damn, there's really nowhere. Oh, I could sit on that side. Maybe sit right there in that corner. This is where I kind of wish I had my sit pad, but kind of glad I went ultralight and didn't carry my stuff. right, y'all, my brain's kind of frozen. I'm gonna get home, get some videos edited, and hopefully you'll see more of me tomorrow. Bullfrog hikes, signing out.